Hello, my name's Simon Crafar. We're at Valencia, which is the final race of the year, which means it's the final Tech Talk of the year. And today, I'm really proud to say, I'm back in the Tech 3 garage. The Tech Talk is about what it takes to be a rider in MotoGP. And joining me is Danilo Petrucci.
Hello everybody. Thanks Simon.
So, Danilo, it's a hard road to MotoGP. We've got to start with, how did you get here? You know, from, I imagine, a child on a dirt bike to arriving in the paddock.
Yeah, it was really a long way, and for sure the first thing you need to have is the big passion, and this was thanks to my father, that is a really big fan of all the motorcycling world and everything. And I was always watching racing and bikes and things like this, and we try to immediately to put me on a pocket bike because I always wanted and asked to him.
From what age?
3 years old I started go on the bike. Then you can go racing at 7, but there were not so much track around my area, so we start from trials, going in the mountain, and I won an Italian championship. Then I immediately switched to mini cross. Then when I was 15, so it means in 2006, I switched to road racing from Honda Trophy, Yamaha Trophy, in, let's say just a manufacturer, was CBR 600, because I was already quite tall. And from there, super stock in European Championship alongside the super bikes. 2011, I went with a team with Ducati, and we fought for all the championship. But mainly, I did the test rider for Ducati, and this put me a lot of spotlight on it because we were developing the new Panigale that was really different. This helped me to go the year after with the CRT bike in MotoGP, that were bikes with a production engine and a prototype chassis. From there, I started my journey in MotoGP, and a big change came in 2015 when Pramac asked me to race with them, and we scored a podium, and from then on we stay on the podium many times, and this led me to the factory team in Ducati and now in KTM.
Danilo, listening to that story, I can tell one of the ingredients is bravery, because it takes some bravery to walk away from a winning bike in another class to the least competitive machine in MotoGP that year. So, but my next question is, look, you've made it now to MotoGP and this era that you're talking about, and you didn't just make it there, you won. And I've looked up some statistics, and since 1949 in the Premier class, so that's 72 years, only 117 people in history have won in the big class. But you didn't just do that, you won twice, and that whittles it down, better than me, to only 49, I think it was, 49 riders ever in history have won 2 GPs. So what I want to ask is, what does it take to win? And before you answer, to give the listeners an idea and you an idea what I want to hear, you know, like what specifics, you know. When people always ever ask me what does it take to win here, or even get here, it takes a certain amount of natural ability and a certain amount of work ethic. And through the decades I've been watching, there's been different levels of that. For example, you know, there's like Kaczynski and Biaggi and maybe even Valley that have amazing natural ability, and then work ethic's almost there, you know. And then you see someone like McDoohan, who's maybe natural ability slightly less, and the work ethic is incredible. But I'd also like to hear about the technical side, what your strengths are.
Yeah, for sure you need to put everything together, because it's not just a matter of natural ability or talent, because I found so many amazing talent, especially when I was a child, and you say thinking about it, you say, I cannot go faster than him. But then during the years, maybe they lost their self, and even when they came to MotoGP, there were maybe some amazing talent. And let's say I remember so well a phrase that Senna said one time, and I read on a book that said, "Hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard." And this is really true, because you need to work a lot, especially in MotoGP on the bike. You need to work on yourself, but especially out of when you jump off the bike, you need to be really, really good to say the right thing, the truth to your chief mechanic, then understand what you need to change to be fast, because
So technically you can do that? You were good at giving feedback?
yeah, at the end I adopted this, let's say it was simple. I said I start to say all the things I feel on the bike. And so the first time I remember that I rode with a super bike in Mugello with Ducati. I got almost all the factory there, because it was one of the first exit with this bike, with this super bike. And I was really, really scared, much more scared to come back to the pit than riding the bike. And, but because everyone was asking me many different things, that for me, coming from off-road and then from super stock, that you are allowed to change really small things, was really a complete another world. But this helped me to understand what's the good thing to do and to say. And especially in MotoGP, sometimes, most of the time, you watch more your data than the things you do on track properly, because you need to understand, okay, I have to brake later here or less, but where and when and how to do it. The strangest thing of MotoGP, riding these bikes, that you have to follow a method and not your instinct. Sometimes, especially when you are really on a top level, it's like running away from a lion. You just follow your instinct to run as fast as you can, and on the bikes, open the throttle as early as possible and close it as late as possible, but sometimes it's not the proper way. So you need to change yourself, to adapt yourself to everything, because the bike changed, the tire changed, and your style must be never stopped. You always need to change and to adapt yourself to everything.
That's fantastic. That leads me on to the next question. Before I go on to the next one, is in those things you're just explaining, what would you say your strong points were?
Let's say, I have a good talent, but I was not, let's say, something unbelievable. But I never quit believing, and let's say, okay, if I can improve something, I will try. But not only on the race weekend, but also outside. So always believing, always following my dream and not giving up. Maybe was my biggest talent, and was not, let's say, properly to the bike or to the talent or to racing.
So what you're saying is an attribute that I believe all riders have got. They're stubborn.
Yeah,
Stubborn.
exactly.
Hey, the next one is, you mentioned it, is adapting. It's one of the things, Valentino was incredible, I think, amazing, all through the classes, tyre brands.
Yeah, even because he almost raced with you and all with me.
Yes, it's true, it's true. So adapting, can you explain to the listeners, because at the end of my career, it's what stopped me. I changed tyre brand and I couldn't adapt, and it finished my career. I think that I saw something similar with your career last year. The tyre changed and the bikes needed something different, and some of the more experienced riders struggled more than the young guys, and I'd love to hear your take on adapting through the classes and the tyres.
Yeah. I went through in my MotoGP career, many bikes and many different brands of tires, and especially many types really of tires. That at the beginning the Bridgestone tires were really difficult to understand. Then you need to stay on the bike, make mistake, because it's the most natural way to know which is the right way. Is taking the wrong one and come back, having the let's say humility to come back and say, okay, I'm wrong, try this one. And then when Michelin start to work with us, I immediately felt really good. Since 2016, I really like to have a lot of traction on the rear, and when I put that new Michelin tire was unbelievable, because I was really fast, using too much of the tire without caring too much. And this was a problem, because I was fast for a single lap, but then not for all the race. So I work a lot on myself till when I arrive in 2018-19, fighting always for the podiums. And then after that year that I was fighting for the third place in 2019 for the podium at the end of the year, fighting with all of the best, maybe the best Marc Marquez and his best Honda, with Dovizioso that was top of the shapes. And most of the riders complaining about the stiffness of the construction of the tire. And for this reason, maybe I didn't recognize it was an help for myself, because I can put a lot of traction.
The stronger one was...
Yeah. If you remember, there were a lot of races where we had to choose the softest option and try to save it, because the other one were useless. But at the start of 2020, the bike was the same like the year before, but was completely different. Riding the bike, and I always had a really good help by the rear tire also to stop the bike. I let it slide a lot, and this helped me a lot. But I never get this feeling again. And
I saw you in Malaysia. I was watching it on track, and I recognized some pumping that I've never seen before.
And was a big help. But then, since last year, I started to struggle, because for stopping all my weight with the front tire, and without any help from the rear, was for me was too difficult. I was never the same on braking, where is maybe my strongest point. And then I was happy, because the only race on the wet last year I won. So I said I keep out of my mind that I was not doing anymore what I know the most. I mean, racing the bike and race as fast as possible. And this gives me, let's say, the answer. Say, okay, I'm still able to ride a bike and win races, but the
package doesn't quite suit you.
The package, I cannot adapt myself, or maybe it's not enough for me. So, it's been difficult to accept. And but then, I can say, I don't know if I could adapt last year or this year to this tire, but for sure I spent so many years being so competitive that now I get the same feeling. But it's. I think the answer is that MotoGP never seen a rider big like me, and so
since me.
So I mean, so heavy. But I was a bet for a lot of engineers, for sure. And but I was happy to say, okay, your mathematics, your maths, saying the opposite of what I did today.
Danilo, that hard time you're describing is perfect. I think time for me to ask pressure in MotoGP. Can you give the listeners an idea on the pressures that MotoGP riders go through? And what I've noticed from my era to yours is it's more competitive. Like, there's more guys there, so there's more pressure on you guys to perform every single session in qualifying. But also, I noticed the PR side has got a lot bigger, so you have more demands on you for interviews, for the press conference, but also social media. This whole thing I'd love to hear it from you.
Yeah, yeah. When I remember so well at the beginning of 2016, I was talking in Australia during precision test to Casey Stoner, and they asked me. I asked to him, why you quit racing. Say, I like a lot to ride the bike, and it's my passion. But I recognize, for staying in MotoGP, riding the bike is the last thing you do, and it's 5% of your life, because the other stuff is 95% is something that you don't like maybe, or you are not born to post on social media or answer some question. And yeah, also this, for example, it's not everything so let's say bright or easy, because when you are not performing, you have to justify your performance not only on the screen or to the media or something, but to a factory. And
Big pressure.
it's something. I mean, riding in MotoGP, you are riding the best bike that KTM can make, and you have to justify. You have to say what is not working or what is. And you, let's say, you led the developing of something important. All the factory is working for you, and everything is really in your hands. Doing this, and not when everything is okay, everything you win races, you stay on the podium, is okay. But since last year, I start to suffer a bit of this. I mean, always find a reason to not performing, and this, with all the effort you did, is something really heavy. That you are really all the motorcycle passionate, all the people watching you, and yeah, especially all the factory are watching you and watching that you need to perform, because they are putting all their effort to this bike. It's yeah, something different. You talk a lot, and yeah, maybe it was. I'm not for sure the best one posting on social media or something like that, because if you look at my social media, I have just things about this world, because I think my life is private, and I don't need to post it. And but then it's not all my life, so I'm, let's say, I'm not the one that the fan like to follow on social media. Instead, they like a lot to talk with me and to look at me racing. And yeah, this is important anyway, because all the people want to watch us, and they come to races, and they open the phone or switch on the television for watching us, and thanks to us, we are here. Yeah. This is the most important thing, that without people watching us, and without the MotoGP that always trying to put ourselves on the spotlight, this was not possible. So yeah, it's something that we need for the sport.
Danilo, anything you would go back and change career-wise or do differently?
Yeah, for sure. The thing I would like to change was my weight and my sides, but this was not possible, because yeah, even last week they weighed myself, and I weighed 82 kilos with 8% of fat. So I tried many times to go at really a lower level of fat, but this does not help me, because the gap between the other riders is always 15, 20 kilos. With Pedrosa, I think it's almost 40. 40 kilos is something incredible, and you cannot ride the same bike, so it's difficult really to perform. But I could not change this.
I imagine, being Italian, you enjoy your food and your wine and your beer, and that's going to make.
I just
suffer,
since I was a child, for this reason I did not start with 1 to 5, because I was already really tall.
Yeah.
And even if I'm not fat, but for riding the bike I need a lot of muscle, and I don't know why. Maybe because till 16 I was racing motocross, so my when I was child, my body grew up like this. For sure, yeah.
So you would be an advocate of the weight, meaning like in the smaller classes, or not?
Yeah, but I don't know if all the factory agree with this.
Okay.
And let's say
Meaning if the rider weighed in and made it more even, you would like that?
Yeah, I would like, but
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. It's not going to happen.
It's not gonna happen. But then maybe thinking about I maybe sometime I needed more to focus on myself and enjoying what I did.
Okay.
Instead of thinking always I'm not happy, I want to do more, to do more, and this let's say led me to make some mistakes and be under too much pressure sometimes.
On a positive note, favorite memories in the sport? I have to ask you that before. And favorite memories of your whole career?
For sure, winning in Mugello was one of the best things, even if I didn't realize still, because the first win in Mugello with an Italian bike is something really unique that I really didn't understand. But yeah, just maybe the moment they said, okay, you will race in MotoGP next year has been really, really top of it. Then winning races has been really nice. Then fight with all the best riders in the sport, I think, because I had the chance to race with, for sure, not with Rainish ones, Gardner or Lawson, but with Valentino, Stoner, Pedrosa, Dovizioso, Marquez, Mir, Quartararo, all the best of the last 10 years. It's been really, really great with Valentino. We share a lot of fight for the first place, for the podium, for the 16th place like this year.
Yeah.
So yeah, really, really a good memories, and really a big fan of MotoGP.
We're almost finished, and that's fantastic. I love that one. We're almost finished, but I have to ask, because this is a tech talk, for the people young guys who want to be a MotoGP rider, life lessons you've learnt from your career, especially in this paddock?
For sure, it's to never give up, and especially it's maybe sounds stupid, but believe in yourself, because mostly of the time in my career I didn't believe in myself, and I have been surprised of what I did. I remember sometimes on qualifying say, today I'm not fast on the bike, or I cannot make it through the Q2. I jump on the bike, and riding the bike I said, wow, I could make it. I can make it. And I've been, let's say, surprised a lot of time of my potential. And believing in it, and especially focusing on your own instead of all the things you are around, because as you say, there are a lot of social media, a lot of journalists, a lot of distractions, and focusing on what you love the most, that is riding the bike.
Danilo, thank you so much for all these insights. Also, thank you for the human side that you brought to MotoGP. I think all of the viewers would want to join me in wishing you the very best for your new career, Dakar and after that. And thank you again. Okay, so that's our final Tech Talk of the year. Look forward to joining you with another one beginning of next year. Bye for now.